Hey, welcome back, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hopefully, we're having a wonderful day so far and hopefully getting ready for the weekend slowly but surely on the way. And this week has gone by pretty quickly, I think. But to be fair, the entire month of August has felt like a blur. I felt like we were dealing with Debbie and then I blinked and here we are. And now it's almost September somehow. So again, pretty busy month just in life, not even necessarily in the weather, but just starting classes and all that, I guess, has really made the month go by pretty quickly for me at least. But let me know how it's going for you. Now in today's video, we do have a good bit to talk about. We are obviously going to talk about the tropics. It is that time of the year, but we also have signs of a bit of a storm system that could be brewing here towards the end of the month over the lower 48, kind of maybe our first big mid-latitude cyclone of the year. And that could bring some severe weather as well as another shot of fall-like air to potentially end the month and start out September. So, fingers crossed that'll get us just in time for football here, especially for that first weekend of full college football. Definitely have some football going on this weekend. I think most high schools start their football season this weekend, at least in the Carolinas. It's getting that time of the year. We're getting towards fall, and it sure has felt like it out there the past couple of days. But the question is, how long will that last? And I'll give you the update on that in today's video. Now, if you haven't already subscribed, definitely do so. We're getting very close to 9,000 subscribers. We only need about 70 more people. So if you watch the video regularly and you're not subscribed, just go ahead, hit the subscribe button. It'll make your life easier. These videos will pop up easier in your feed. And you can also hit that bell for the latest notifications so you get a buzz on your phone every morning or afternoon or evening whenever I upload. So it's a great way to stay in touch there. Also, like the video, obviously, and comment, let me know you're watching from. I know I've not been super active in the comments recently. I promise I've been reading them all. Again, it's the first week of class, so just been hectic with that and figuring all that out. But should get into the rhythm of things here soon and should be able to get back to diving into the comments a little bit more regularly. With that said, though, let's go ahead and dive into things because, again, there is some stuff to talk about. We're going to start with the tropics like we normally do this time of year, whether there's a lot going on or nothing going on. And right now, not so much in the way of activity in the tropics. Now, with that said, though, there are a couple things I'm watching, specifically, at least for potential homegrown development. Watch this leftover front. Now, this is the same front that kind of moved on through and brought those, we're still feeling them, but brought the nicer faller air. It has kind of stalled out over the state of Florida and kind of up the Gulf Stream. What often happens in these setups is kind of down here towards the tail end of these fronts. Some of these pieces of energy can kind of break off from the front and try to, get out on their own. And oftentimes that can lead to tropical development this time of year, especially in a place like the Gulf of Mexico, where sea surface temperatures are through the roof and could easily lead to, tropical development. So that's something I'm going to watch, and I'll even show you some of our models that kind of hint at that just a little bit in today's video. But other than that, pretty quiet. We do have a couple of waves out here into the main development region of the Atlantic, but none of these are really expected to develop into things or into anything. And even you'll notice we even have a little bit of a lull on the coast of Africa right now, where we're still kind of waiting for that next big wave to make its way offshore. So it's been a bit of a lull here for the past couple of days. It's expected to stay that way through this week. I think, though, starting next week, specifically the middle to end of next week, we could see things kind of uptick during that last kind of couple days of August and into the first couple days of September. And that forecast hasn't changed. I've been saying that for a while now. I know a lot of people keep kind of pushing the can down the road, but for at least a good week now, I've been saying we'll be in a lull for now. But we'll have to watch again in the very end of August and start of September. And then after that, we'll start getting towards peak hurricane season, and we'll see what things look like. So again, right now, the main reason we're lacking any development is we've got big time dry air over much of the Atlantic Ocean, even down into portions of the Gulf of Mexico, over a big chunk of the main development region. But what I want you to notice here, this wave that just came off of Africa a day or two ago, kind of notice what it's doing. It's really moistening up the flow here into this part of the Atlantic. And oftentimes what happens is some of these beginning waves kind of sacrifice themselves, if you will, to eventually make way for what's behind them, and that's something we'll definitely want to watch for. It's very possible that this kind of moistens things up, makes the environment a little bit more favorable, and then whenever waves come off of Africa within the next week or two, could use that to kind of, get going here. But right now, again, a bit of a lull, excuse me, for the meantime, and we'll enjoy it because, again, we have had, a pretty crazy first half of hurricane season from Beryl, which, we were calling for a hyperactive hurricane season, at least all the experts were at the beginning of the year, and Beryl started and people started thinking, well, they're definitely not lying, and then We had Debbie, and then things kind of died out. We had Ernesto that moved through, but right now the Pacific Ocean is really the ocean that is really firing off those tropical systems. And latest from the NHC, nothing is expected again in the next 7 days. Now, after 7 days, they don't even forecast for here. So, this is just now through next Thursday, and they update this every, I guess every 8 hours or so, 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Or 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. as well. So however many hours that is between those, I guess maybe that's 6 hours actually. So either way, yeah, this is what we're seeing right now. So not a whole lot going on. And even if we look at our ensembles, honestly, this looked a little bit more impressive yesterday, to be quite frank with you. These are the overnight Euro ensemble members, not much happening here in the form of any sort of tropical development. Sure, there are a couple members out here with something maybe trying to get going in the main development region in the long run. Also, a couple members showing up, something down into the Caribbean, maybe, that Central American gyre may try to get going. Also, just, a couple here in the Gulf, but all things considered, pretty quiet. Now, the GFS is a little bit different, and I want to show the GFS to you. Because, again, it shows the potential of something that I do have my eye on. Again, still out here in the main development region the next 10 days, a couple members towards the end of that 10-day frame, here going towards that last couple days of August and first couple of days of September. Try to get something going, but what I really want you to know is, see how we have a couple members down here into the Gulf of Mexico, as well as down here into the Caribbean. It's something we're going to want to watch. And again, especially these members here in the short term, should something try to break off the backside of that front and get going, it's very possible. And it's something we should watch for. Climatologically speaking, it happens quite often. And this is a setup that would support that. And a couple ensemble members are showing it. Also, the operational GFS model run from this morning, again, this is hot off the press, also showed this. So this is going into this weekend and into early next week, and just kind of watch what happens. This is next Tuesday. You'll notice not a whole lot, but we do get a little piece of energy that kind of breaks off from that front over Florida and then moves it out here into the central Gulf of Mexico. And tries to close it off as a closed low pressure system, and eventually moves it inland here as, maybe a tropical depression or storm about a week from now, maybe a week to 8 or 9 days. So it's something we'll want to watch. Again, it's not showing anything crazy strong here. There's not a lot of ensemble support, but climatologically speaking, it's something that very well could happen. And I'll have my eye on it for sure here for you folks in the Gulf of Mexico, should that, try to get going. And again, it's something that could. So just kind of keeping one eye on it right now. Nothing super pressing, nothing that screams, major hurricane or, anything to be super worried about, but definitely something you want to keep an eye on. And another thing to keep an eye on, is the experts here at the Climate Prediction Center still suggesting we're going to start to get active here again about a week onward from now. So the next week, probably going to be a bit of a lull outside of maybe something in the Gulf trying to cause some mischief here. But, August 28th through September 3rd, they're saying it's a higher likelihood we're going to get a storm out here in the main development region of the Atlantic than we won't. So again, right here specifically in that kind of dark burgundy color there. And after that, another area to watch of a greater than 40% chance of development in that red splotch for that first to second week of September. So, the experts are still saying we're going to see some tropical development here in the medium to long run. And even if the models aren't super excited right now about it, sometimes climatology, wins out. So it's very possible. I know right now the models don't look very exciting, and I agree with them over the next week, but 7 to 10 days, 10 to 15 days, I do think the pattern will become slightly more favorable as we really get into peak hurricane season. Again, still not quite there yet. We've still got a good week or two till actual peak of season, really actually a good 2 to 3 weeks. It's really more in kind of this range that is peak season than this range. So, we'll be watching for you, but right now, that's what I got for you on the tropics. Not a whole lot is happening, but enough that we do want to keep an eye on it, and we'll continue to keep you updated. All right, let's take a look back home at the continental North America here, from Canada down to, sea to shining sea of the United States. A couple things to note definitely that we're going to talk about in today's video, specifically these kind of two mid-level lows, one over the Northeast and this one specifically over the Pacific Northwest, which is going to cause some issues here. So again, both of these areas are causing problems. Again, that front that is kind of draped down across the southeast is also still causing some problems. We're going to see pretty widespread rain through the state of Florida today. But other than that, through the Ohio River Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, the Great Lakes region, really right in this circle, it's going to be about as nice of a day as you could ask for once again for this time of year before slowly we begin that warming trend and those dew point trends back up going towards the weekend and next week. Now, in between, we do have a high pressure system kind of over Texas that is really rotating plenty of Pacific moisture into the Rockies, bringing some monsoonal flow and some stronger to severe storms up into the north central plains from Kansas all the way up through the Dakotas there, and even up into portions of southern Canada. So, it's a pretty active scene for many folks. And even on radar here, you can see that we've got those showers and storms down near Florida and southern Georgia. We've been talking about that the past couple of days. And then these complexes of some storms trying to work on through portions of the Great Plains. So, we'll definitely see how that affects things here going on. But nonetheless, right now it does look to be quite active in the Great Plains. A little bit more quiet in the east, and then in the west we are seeing some of those afternoon showers and storms. And we're going to see even more this afternoon as that low pressure system tries to work on through over the next couple of days for you folks out west. And just to, again, kind of show you the overall pattern one more time on a different map. I know I just showed it, but again, high pressure here, mid-level low here, mid-level low here. So basically the flow is kind of like this right now. So you get the idea. This is going to bring more humid, muggy, and higher chances of rainfall over the Rockies and storm chances here around the ridge into the plains. And then on the backside, where we have high pressure here on the other side of this trough in the east, we're getting that flow out of Canada. It's going to be nicer. It's going to be cooler. It's going to be drier. It's just kind of, I love the weather here. It's just a big old conveyor belt that moves things from one coast to the other and quite often changes things up from one coast to the other. So that's just kind of what we're looking at right now. If we go ahead and take a look at future radar here through this afternoon, we'll start in the east. Again, some showers and storms in the northeast, specifically interior New England, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, that upper level low. It's made it feel cool. If anyone's watching up there, let me know how high your temperatures have been in the afternoon because again, that has to be keeping it down into the 50s, maybe 60s. Very, very fall-like up there for sure. These showers and storms through the state of Florida this afternoon. Again, just kind of an, maybe higher rainfall chances than normal in Florida for this time of year, but still kind of that general idea that you would normally see in August. Everywhere else, though, looks pretty nice. We could have some showers and storms working on through the northern part of Minnesota, where you're kind of on the outer edge of this high pressure at the surface now. So, not quite as nice as it was maybe a couple days ago. But then we get into tonight. Again, showers and storms continuing for the same people. Tomorrow afternoon, Friday, more of the same. Although I will mention, I think in the Northeast, it'll be nicer tomorrow than today was as that upper level low kind of finally gets on out of there. Still going to be rainy through Florida, southern Georgia, maybe coastal South Carolina, and we could see some showers on the outer edge of this high pressure. Again, here's the high pressure. Wherever it kind of meets this flow out of the south is where we could see some of those showers and storms. So, tomorrow afternoon, this region could pick up on some more rain through the Midwest, Wisconsin, Iowa, back through portions of Nebraska, Kansas, even the UP of Michigan could see some rain showers for our Friday evening. And then that gets us into overnight Friday. So that's the latest there for just kind of the next 48 hours or so. We'll take a look at temperatures as well here. And this afternoon, again, it's going to be nice. Still widespread 70s through the Ohio River Valley, 60s and 70s through the Northeast, into those interior portions of New England, maybe only 50s, 60s. And then it's unfortunately going to be quite warm down towards the Central Plains. Texas, it's going to be once again very hot. I think we broke a daily record in Austin, Texas yesterday. It's going to once again be hot again today with that high pressure really building that heat dome over you folks. So it depends on where you're at, but most of us, at least east of the Mississippi, especially the Ohio River Valley and the Mid-Atlantic, really going to be a beautiful day once more today, and then we'll move this into our Friday afternoon for temperatures here, and just expect tomorrow to be a tad warmer. Again, that high pressure slowly going to work offshore. That southerly flow is going to increase. It's going to get warm again tomorrow. Louisiana, Arkansas, the Memphis area, Jackson, Mississippi, back up kind of into the Ohio River Valley. Temperatures back up into the 80s and 90s. We should get one more nice day, though, into the Northeast and down into the Mid-Atlantic, where that high pressure won't quite get that southerly flow cranking just yet, but don't worry, it's coming. Now, we'll take a look out west as well. Again, the big theme here is just going to be kind of rainfall. We've got that low pressure moving through the Pacific Northwest I talked about. Here it is. You can see that closed isobar there. That's really helping with this ridge here to really increase. Well, it's not high pressure at all, but you get the point. Either way, flow is really coming out of the Pacific pretty hard here. So those rainfall chances have increased significantly over the Four Corners the past couple of days. That's going to continue today into tomorrow. Also going to get a little bit more of enhanced rainfall on the west coast itself from northern California up through Oregon and Washington state as that low pressure moves inland. This is this afternoon and overnight into tonight. You'll notice widespread rain developing. We get this into our Friday afternoon, more rain showers. Again, Northern California, Southern Oregon getting in on some rain. The Rockies continuing its rain and some very high elevation snow also likely here. So, if you live in a valley or in the foothills of these areas and you look up tomorrow, you very might well see some white on top of those mountains. As we go into this weekend, and it's going to be more of the same Friday night into Saturday. So a bit of a rainy pattern on the way out west, which we'll take it, obviously. It's a part of the country that doesn't get rain nearly as often as the east, and generally it's a good thing when you do get it. All right, so let's talk about the medium to long run. That's kind of the short run. I am seeing signs of a pretty big storm system here going towards this, or kind of next week, really, I'll say. So this is this afternoon. We already kind of talked, or really it's tomorrow afternoon. We already talked about this a little bit. Let me move this ahead, though, into this weekend. Notice what happens to our storm out west. Again, that troughing continues. It begins to work through the Rockies and finally tries to eject out into the north central plains. At the same time, a big area of high pressure is developing over portions of the Midwest here and really just kind of right over the Mississippi River Valley. So that's going to increase temperatures. It's going to increase dew points again. It's going to start to feel muggy. But as that low pressure system kind of moves from the Rockies into the central plains going into next week, we could see severe weather chances increase in the north central plains and potentially the Midwest for the middle, or really the beginning of next week, I should say. And after that, that might not be the end of it. Notice another area of troughing behind that into Canada and another one behind that into Alaska. We're getting into that time of year where these Rossby waves slowly move south. The jet stream's working south, trying to get closer to the equator as the seasons change. And that very well could lead to some stronger storm systems, specifically late next week, about 7 to 10 days from now. I'm watching this. The models have been picking up on this for a while now. The signs that we could get a bit of a bowling ball trough that could get down into the United States, at least into Canada, maybe trying to get down into the Great Lakes region, and that could really sway our weather a little bit here in the long run. So we'll get this towards the first storm system. This is Sunday into Monday. Notice low pressure forming here into the north central plains. We could see some storms fire off of that. That could bring some severe weather definitely for early next week. And then after that, another storm system tries to develop here, in that same general area. That could bring some severe weather here Monday, Tuesday, here through the Midwest and the north central plains, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, states like that. Could definitely get some strong to severe storms out of that next week, again, during the early half of the week. After that, though, here comes the next storm, and this one looks a lot more feisty than the first two. It looks bigger. It looks like it means more business. Now, depending how far south this gets will mean a lot. Now, this can get down into the Midwest, and we're going to see widespread active weather, including severe weather and maybe some other, gusty winds, things like that with this later next week. Again, if it gets south, stays up into Canada, severe weather will be more confined towards the Midwest and the northern Great Plains once again. But either way, on the backside of this, there could be, once again, another shot of fall air. So again, you notice here the low pressure is quite far north into the Hudson Bay of Canada, which would make sense for this time of year. You won't expect it to be too far south, but if it can shift a little bit further south and we get this low pressure more over, Michigan, Ohio, we could get some pretty nice cold and dry air advection on the backside here to once again bring some, cooler temperatures. Now, again, we are expecting, even if this is a little bit further north, we'll probably get a front of some sort that'll bring some sort of rainfall, whether that's severe weather or just good old-fashioned rain. Again, we'll just have to kind of wait and see, but my eyes are on that. Nonetheless, though, the Storm Prediction Center is confident in that first low pressure. Again, the one that's working through Washington and Oregon right now that will eventually move out into the plains over the coming days. That one will very likely bring severe weather. Now, what kind of severe weather we'll see? Main threat right now, I would say, would be damaging winds and hail, but cannot rule out some tornadoes as well. This is the day 4 outlook. This is Sunday. Again, an area there through the Dakotas of some potential severe weather. Then we get into Monday, it gets through the Twin Cities and portions of Wisconsin and South Dakota there. So, it takes pretty good confidence to issue these outlooks more than a couple days out, and they sure enough are. And here's why. One of the things we look at here for severe weather is wind shear, and bulk shear definitely looks to increase. This is Sunday afternoon here. You'll notice that wind shear increasing over the plains, the northern plains. That's why we could have some severe weather there on Sunday. We get this into Monday and Tuesday, another area of some wind shear. And then that works on through, and notice more wind shear returning to the forecast about a week from now as that stronger storm system works through. This very well could lead to some severe weather once again next week, in the latter half of the week. So definitely looking for the potential of some more of a severe weather, potential next week. Through portions of the country east of the Rockies. Now, I think right now it'll mainly be up north, kind of Ohio River northbound, but we could see it drive southward a little bit too, depending on how the track changes here. Now, dew points. Again, it's going to be nice today. Tomorrow, it should stay nice again for most of us, at least through the Appalachia chain. But getting, muggier through the Mississippi River Valley this weekend. Everyone slowly becomes more and more muggy. By the time we're into next Monday, just about all of us east of the Rockies are back into that muggy air. Some of us could try to hold on to some dry air. You'll notice some of this dry air almost gets trapped a little bit here in parts of the country. We'll hope that happens. We'll hold on to this nice air as long as we can. But unfortunately, I think everyone's going to get in on muggy weather at some point again next week. But again, should that front move through, look at this, another sharp cutoff of dew points with some drier air trying to funnel in on the backside of whatever storm system we may be dealing with to end out August and start September. And that could bring below average temperatures as well. This is the temperature map for today. Again, well below average for many of us here east of the Mississippi. Stays that way for a couple days. Getting into this weekend, we get closer to average. Getting into next week, we start to get above average for a lot of us. It stays that way. But then again, whatever front tries to work on through here could bring those temperatures back to average to below average. So that's what we're looking at right now. Again, nothing set in stone, but definitely a couple storm systems to watch here, whether that's in the tropics or, back home, in a little bit of a lull, but the long range does look to pick up a little bit. So we will continue to discuss that. Alrighty, y'all have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Enjoy it, and I'll see you all tomorrow.